Hi, I'm Dave Malenfant, the chairman of the America's Logistics and Supply Chain Summit. And with me today is Andrew Johnson, who is one of our students from Michigan State University. I'll let Andrew introduce himself.
I'm a R. Gene Richter Scholar in 2014, so I'm really pleased to be here and feel privileged to be a part of this.
What does that mean, an R.G. Richter Scholar?
Have you ever heard of R. Gene Richter? He was a pretty much fundamental leader in the procurement and supply management.
Okay.
And so there's 10 students across the country that are actually selected for this high honor. And so it's a scholarship, but then it's even more than that. We have a junior mentor program and then a senior mentor program. They also fly us out to the ISM conference that is held in May of every year.
So what is it that they look for when they give such a scholarship?
They have, I believe, 4 key traits that they really look for. They look for leadership, they look for integrity, people that are really interested in the supply chain management and the progression of it. And then they also are just making sure that it's the cream of the crop and that they're getting the brightest individuals possible.
Well, you know, Andrew, this morning we had the panel discussion on talent, and I was extremely impressed on how you presented yourself and how you were able to really represent the young supply chain professionals. And I'd like to get your feeling on what you thought of that panel. We had from the business and from Michigan State, but maybe you can give me your thoughts.
Yeah, I really enjoyed being a part of the panel. It was great to see all the high leaders in all these organizations really inspired to really understand what the new and coming potential leaders are going to be doing. And so it was really inspiring to see that there is this gap and it's wanting to be fixed rather than just being ignored. And so it was great to see the different vantage points that everyone had and that we all really want to make supply chain better and really expose it and make it more so something that everyone knows about, and so that we can really develop the top potential talent.
And one of the struggles we have in the business is getting more young people like yourself to choose supply chain as a profession. And how can we do that? We get more folks like you to do that.
It's really all these professionals and companies starting to aim at high schools and also aligning with colleges to start looking at high school and middle school levels to really educate the students to understand what supply chain management is. And let's say you have an item, how that item came to be with the logistics and the procurement and sourcing, everything behind that item. And there's so many great stories that you hear about in supply chain management. And just to inspire these students and to really get them involved at such a young age, I feel like if half the students coming to college knew about this, they'd be so much more interested and actually know what supply chain management is, versus a lot of students currently do not know what that is or if that it's even a career that they can pursue. And so by really targeting this younger generation, we can really advance the supply chain management in the best way possible.
So you see, when you say targeting, it's the supply chain professionals going out and actually entrenching into the high schools and talking to the counselors in the high schools and really getting people to understand the different verticals of supply chain.
Yes, exactly, and that's great to really target the counselors, because these are the people that the students really look up to, and the ones that are going to have a great impact on what these students choose to do in their college career and where they choose to go to school, so that they can start choosing these top-notch supply chain schools such as Michigan State.
To me, what's really important is internships. Tell me a little bit about your experience of internships and what value did it bring to you and how could they improve?
Yes, for sure. I feel like internships, that is something that is really amazing that's happened. It was not so commonplace in the previous years that students would maybe come out of school with 1 or 2 internships, but now it's more commonplace for companies to start actually aiming at potential freshmen and sophomores to get them into their talent pipeline. From my internships, I've really been able to utilize the skills that you learn in school and actually apply them to different projects. It's been great to be able to network with professionals and high-level leaders in the organization and understand how they got to where they are. And it really is great to bring that back to school, and so you can really leverage that among your classmates and some of your group projects, and really, it really brings everything full circle, because I know after my first internship, I started having my real supply chain classes, and it just engaged me so much more. And so like it makes learning so much easier, and you actually are thrilled to start learning about the topics and everything. These internships are really a great opportunity to take hold of the skills that you possess and really leverage them and bring them to the real world. Some of the key things that I have found that are beneficial in an internship program are to have a mentorship program, which allows a student that is an intern to really understand and talk to senior leaders to understand how they got to where they are in the organization. So this really kind of brings us to our bearings and doesn't kind of oversee our expectations, so that we can really understand what it takes and the skills that that one must possess to get to where the current role that you want to pursue is. So that is one of the key things that I found. And also I found that it's very beneficial to have multiple projects for interns to work on, because if these span across the organization, the interns will have a tremendous amount of opportunity to network and start to understand the organization and the impact that they can truly make if they become a full-time employee.
Yeah, let's go now. You go through the internship, you go through the education. Now's the time to graduate and find a job. And one of the criticisms I hear from the practitioners is that the expectations of the graduates from an income standpoint or from a location standpoint is way too high. And I don't know if it's a myth or if it's real, but what's your perspective on that?
I believe that is very true. Students or graduates come out with feeling like they are very well educated and deserve the best, but they oversee what they are valued in the organization initially. I really feel that students need to really aim towards a specific role rather than a location or salary. You're going to learn a lot more in a role that is challenging you and something that interests you, rather than if you're in the location that you want.
One last question. What's the future for Andrew Johnson?
The future for Andrew Johnson. I'm fortunate to be starting in supply chain at Microsoft in Seattle, and I'm really excited to see where that takes me. I've always been interested in technology, and I really feel, just say from this conference, that is really the way of the future, and that if we can harness that technology and really utilize it and like take hold of that in supply chain, the future it's going to be great. And also with the global marketplace, I really see myself going globally and being able to work with a supply chain that is global, and to really work with an organization to help achieve the best possible supply chain.